Okay, so you're thinking about a career in oceanography, and you want to make sure you nail that interview.
Definitely.
We've got all sorts of resources from RoleCatcher here.
Okay.
Their Oceanographer Career Guide, and even some sample interview questions.
Sounds good.
So let's dive in and see what we can uncover to help prep you for that interview.
Um, Sounds like a plan. You know, a lot of people, I think, don't realize just how specialized oceanography is.
Right.
Like, it's not all, sailing the ocean.
Yeah.
It's a lot more than that.
So let's say you're hit with that classic interview question like, what inspired you to pursue this career in oceanography?
Right.
How do you get past just saying, oh, I love the ocean,
Yeah, that's a really good question to start with.
Yeah.
Because it's like your first impression, and you want to show them that you're genuinely really enthusiastic about this.
Right.
And connect it to that specific area of oceanography that you're really passionate about. So did like a research project in college spark your interest? Was it a life-changing experience, like a childhood trip to the coast or something?
Oh, I see.
You want to share that story?
Right, give them something to connect with.
Exactly. And this is actually where RoleCatcher's AI tools come in really handy.
Right.
You can actually use their platform to fine-tune your answers and really match them to the specific job that you are applying for.
So if I'm applying to research, like, I don't know, underwater volcanoes or something,
Right.
it'll help me tailor my answer to that specific.
Exactly.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about another question? Let's see. Oh, how do you stay current with the latest research and advancements in oceanography?
Okay, yeah.
That's a big one.
Definitely.
It's not enough to just be like, oh, I watch documentaries.
Yeah, you can't just say that you watch Shark Week.
Right, exactly.
So this is where you can really shine by mentioning specific scientific journals or online forums that you follow.
I see.
So for example, RoleCatcher, they suggest the International Society for Photogrammetry and Remote Sensing.
Wow, that's a mouthful.
I know, it's kind of a long one.
But if you're into marine geospatial technology,
Right, exactly.
that's one. So you're showing them you're proactive, you're engaged, you know what's going on.
You're already speaking their language.
Right, exactly.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
So another question here.
Yeah.
Can you describe a time when you encountered unexpected challenges during a research project and how you overcame them?
Oh, that's a good one. See, I bet they hear, like, my equipment malfunctioned, like, all the time.
Yeah.
And then
Right.
yeah, like, how do you stand out from that?
This is your chance to really showcase your problem-solving skills.
Okay.
So did you face a budget constraint that forced you to get creative with your methods? Or maybe there was a technical issue with data analysis that you had to troubleshoot?
Right, so it's less about the problem itself.
Right.
And more about how you tackled it.
Yeah, and how you showed your resilience.
Yeah, okay.
And again, this is where RoleCatcher's AI can come in handy.
Oh, okay.
They can actually help you craft your answer by giving you feedback on your delivery, the content.
Oh, wow, so it's like having a coach.
It's like having a personal coach, yeah, in your pocket.
Oh, that's cool.
Let's say you get asked, how do you balance the need for scientific rigor with the practical constraints of working in an applied research setting?
That's a good one because it's not always like by the book, right?
Right.
You've got deadlines and, you're working with people.
Exactly. You've got limited resources.
Yeah.
They want to see that you can adapt and prioritize, but at the same time, maintain that scientific integrity.
So maybe like an example of a time that you had to change your research methods because of something that came up.
Exactly.
But you still got the data.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
It shows you can think on your feet.
Okay, so we've covered passion, staying updated, handling those curveball challenges.
Right.
What else might we see in these interviews?
Oh, they might ask you something like, how do you approach data analysis and interpretation in your research?
Okay, so this is where it gets really in the weeds, right?
Right.
Do they want you to walk them through all the statistical analysis?
Not necessarily. No, I don't think they expect you to get into all the nitty-gritty.
Okay.
But the key is to explain your process and be really clear and concise.
Okay.
Mention the types of software or tools that you use.
Okay.
So maybe you use statistical analysis programs, something like R or MATLAB.
I see.
And then be ready to discuss a project where you actually analyze data and what your findings revealed.
So you can crunch the numbers.
Right.
But you also know what they mean.
Exactly. And that actually often involves communicating your findings to other people.
Right.
So another question they might ask is, can you describe a time when you had to communicate complex scientific concepts to a non-technical audience?
Oh, yeah, because not everybody speaks fluent science.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, and I think this is really important for oceanography
Right.
because public awareness can be so important.
Absolutely.
So think about a time where you had to explain your research, maybe to policymakers
Oh.
or potential funders,
Right.
or even just like friends and family.
Right.
And how did you make these really complex ideas relatable to them?
Right. So you're a communicator, not just a scientist.
Right, exactly.
Does RoleCatcher have any tips for how to, like, handle that kind of, I don't know, communication in an interview?
They actually do.
Okay.
They recommend that you use really clear and concise language, avoid all the jargon,
Right.
and relate your answers back to the bigger picture.
Okay.
So, for example, like if you were explaining how important studying phytoplankton is,
Okay.
you could say something like, well, these microscopic plants form the base of the whole ocean's food web, and they're essential for the health of the entire ecosystem.
Right. So you're telling a story.
Exactly. Now, kind of shifting gears a bit, interviewers are always curious about your collaborative skills.
Sure.
So they might ask you something like, how do you approach collaborating with other researchers and stakeholders?
Right, because oceanography is not exactly a solo sport.
Not at all.
Right.
They're often working with people from all different kinds of disciplines.
Yeah.
So you need to communicate really well. You need to be able to share your expertise
Right.
and work towards those common goals. So be ready to share some examples of some successful collaborations that you've had.
Right.
And maybe even like how you navigated any challenges that came up during that.
Right. So it's teamwork, it's communication, and it's a little conflict resolution maybe too.
Exactly.
Oh, this is good. So RoleCatcher also mentioned that certifications are a big deal.
They are.
Can you tell us a little more about those?
Yeah, so think of certifications as like proof
Okay.
that you have these practical skills to back up all the knowledge that you have.
I like it.
So RoleCatcher highlights SKUB diving certification as like essential
That makes sense.
if you're going to be an oceanographer.
You can't study coral from a boat.
Exactly. But it goes beyond just diving.
Okay.
They also mention things like you can get certified to use a remote operated vehicle.
Oh, underwater robots. That's cool.
Yes, you can pilot those.
I like it.
And then, let's not forget the more general certifications like first aid, CPR, all that.
Right. Got to be safe.
Exactly. Safety's really important,
Especially in the ocean.
especially when you're working in a potentially dangerous environment.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like you've got to have the whole package, not just, oh, I read this in a textbook.
Exactly.
So how does RoleCatcher's AI play into this whole certification thing?
Well, imagine a tool that can analyze all of your existing skills and experience,
Okay.
and then it matches them with these relevant certifications, and that's what RoleCatcher can do.
Wow, so it's like a matchmaking service.
It is, yeah.
I like it.
It can even suggest some specific courses or programs that you can take based on your goals and the jobs that you are applying for.
It's amazing. It's being a personalized advisor.
It is.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
So back to these interview questions. Are there any other curveballs they might throw at you?
One that comes up is, can you describe a time when you had to make a difficult decision in your research project and how you approached it?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It is.
Like, what do they want to hear?
Well, it's not so much about them wanting to hear a specific answer. It's more about how you think on your feet, how you make decisions when things get tough.
Okay.
So you could talk about a time when you had to adjust your research methods because of bad weather.
Yeah.
And how you balanced, getting the data that you needed with everyone's safety.
Right, because safety is a big deal.
Exactly. And that actually leads into another question they might ask, which is, what are some of the biggest challenges facing oceanographers today?
Okay, so that's a big one.
It is. It's not just about your little corner of research.
Right.
It's about the whole field.
Right, so you got to know what's going on.
Exactly. And RoleCatcher's Career Guide can actually be super helpful here because they talk about the current trends and challenges.
So climate change, pollution, all that.
All of that. Yep.
Okay.
Ocean acidification, all the big stuff.
Right.
And you can make it personal by, connecting it back to your own area of interest.
So if I'm into coral reefs, I could talk about rising sea temperatures.
Exactly. That's a perfect example.
Okay, cool.
It shows you're not just a scientist in a bubble.
Yeah.
You get the big picture.
Right, you're thinking about the real world.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So we're wrapping up here, but one last thing.
Yeah.
Those final moments of the interview.
Right.
They always ask, do you have any questions for us?
Yep. And a lot of people blank on that one.
Yeah.
But it's huge. It's your chance to shine.
What kind of questions should people ask?
Don't ask something generic.
Yeah.
Really think about what you want to know about the job. or the organization. Like
Sure.
maybe ask about chances to collaborate
Okay.
or what kind of equipment they have, or even just like what's the team culture like.
So show them you're curious.
Be engaged and remember you're interviewing them a little bit too.
Right.
It's a two-way street.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah, so preparation is key.
Absolutely.
Use these sample questions. Don't be afraid to let your personality show.
Don't forget, RoleCatcher's AI can help you practice and get feedback.
Oh, yeah, it's a game changer.
It's like having that coach in your pocket, right?
Exactly.
So to all you aspiring oceanographers out there,
Yeah, good luck.
knowledge, passion, and preparation.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Those are your superpowers.
Absolutely.
Well, we hope this deep dive has helped you navigate the exciting world of oceanography.
It's an amazing field.
And who knows, maybe you'll even discover a new species out there.
And if you do, we want an invite to the naming ceremony.
Absolutely. Thanks
Yeah.
for joining us.